Hello everybody and welcome back to Behind the Weebs, a look at behind the scenes at SunnyCon Anime Expo. I think it's our 10th episode now. Wow, we've came a long way so far. And today the subject is timetabling and panels. Now at Newcastle we have just closed our panels. I say just because this is Friday, the 8th of March I'm recording. So we have just had to close our fan panel submissions, which means we are now absolutely jam-packed, chock-a-blocked, filled to the brim with fudge, full of panels, and now we enter the phase of timetabling all these panels and putting little bits and pieces into this giant jigsaw puzzle we call a convention. Now, going on for this, you can see I have my laptop here and I'm going to be going on it just later, as I'm going to show you how we timetable and what we do for timetabling. But first, I'd like to touch on panels and what we're looking for really in panels, because over the years we've always wanted a different experience to any other convention in the country, and that means that SunnyCon has to stand out, as we have to have some of the best guests you'll ever see in the UK, and we want the most unique and I'd like to say different panels, because usually when you go to a convention you'll see some like cosplayer panels, like cosplayer 101s, or like different panels, but they've all got like a kind of same generic feel about them. Sometimes it's the same person running them, but we've always tried to strive to give a different experience, a different outlook. I have actually adopted the American system of charging for extra panels that would be kind of unobtainable usually on our budget, such as the whiskey panel, which is ran, which we would have needed an extra lump sum of money from the budget put aside to bring in all these whiskies from all over the world and showcase Japanese whiskey especially. It's either we would have took that out of our budget, or we would have needed a huge sponsor in the Japanese whiskey industry, of which I don't have the networking capabilities yet. But what I've done is I've says we'll take America's system, where some conventions in America, and so I think around the rest of the world really, they say, right, we've got this kind of like exclusive different panel which may cost a little bit extra on top of your charge. Now we don't like charging more for anything really, that's why we've managed to try and keep ticket prices as low as possible and kept it at that rate since SunnyCon 2. So we've had nearly half a decade of the same price, which is kind of unheard of in any kind of industry, especially around Brexit time, but we've kind of managed it. And that's all thanks to a growing volume. And we think the growing volume comes from these extra exclusive panels. So you give people the option, you say like you pay £15. I think this year, in fact I know this year, we're charging £30 extra for a whiskey panel. Now that's like, wow, that's a premium ticket's worth, but these whiskies are age statement whiskies. I'm not spending below, I believe, £200 per bottle of whiskey. And you get to try like 4 different types of whiskey in a group of 30 people. And it's a fun event, and some people would go for that, so other people won't. But I'm only looking for like 30 ticket sales at £30, so that's kind of like an example of like different panels that we want that may cost extra, but we've been out of reach. There, we could try that with guests here. We bring a guest over, but we charge extra because the guest's not within our budget. That's being floated around now and then, but to try and keep it different, to try and keep it fresh for SunnyCon, to try and make us stand out as, you know, this convention. We're not like every other convention, you know, your cosplay contest, skit contest, traders hall, that's it. No, we want panels that are engaging, we want panels that are unique, and we want to engage fans and attendees. And that's why we open up for fan panels. And the majority of panels this year we've seen an increase in character Q&As. I believe we've accepted 3 of them for this year. There's a Black Butler one, a Danganronpa one, which we ran last year, which was pretty successful, and a Boku no Hero Academia panel, which I'm still yet to hear back from the potential runner of that. So that's still to be announced as of yet, but and once they get announced, they get added to the timetable, which you'll see shortly. So them's the kind of fan panels. We've had to turn down a lot of panel and performance ideas, because it's not just panels, it's workshops, it's talks, it's performances, And one of the issues we've found is there's a lot of people who want to do performances, especially J or K-pop and kind of at-home idols or UK-based idols who usually have on YouTube. They do the dances, dress up and whatnot. That's all fine. Well, it is relevant to the event, and we believe there is a demand there for it. However, due to past experiences, we found that the idol performance crowd is kind of niche, and it's unfair if we say we accept an act for a performance, for a dance performance, and the dancer says, like, I want half an hour to an hour. That's one person on stage, like, taking up an hour of time on stage, which is very, very, like, finite at the moment, because we've got guests, we've got the main cosplay contests, auctions and whatnot. All of that's on stage, so stage time is very rare and very hard to come by. There has been suggestions of putting a stage elsewhere in the venue. Unfortunately, we don't have the budget for that yet. However, if we were to accept idols and performances and parody and tribute acts and whatnot, then we found that they're very sparsely attended, if at all. And in previous years, we found that dance acts, they don't really, unless there's a big group all together, or it's kind of like a mishmash of like 5 or 6 performers, then it'll be attended. So for this year, I know we've had a lot of like J-pop dancers apply, and we've had to unfortunately turn them down. And it's just nice to give a little extra context on this, because if you have applied for this and you were, why is SunnyCon not accepting this? It's because that the dance acts, they're sparsely attended, and it's unfair on you as a performer, because I know how much hard work goes into preparing for your act. You'll have the nerves on the day, and you've prepared your music, you've prepared every like dance move, and that's all fine and well. But if you turn up and everybody else is at another thing, or there's like 2 or 3 people sitting there in the audience, and you've worked hard for 2 or 3 like people just to sit there and stare, and we don't really have an enthusiastic audience. Most people are on the feet for hours on end and that, and if we put you in on, say, a Sunday evening just before we kick into the charity auction, and people are going to be doing other things, there's a lot on, so you've got to contest a lot, and unless you're like really well known, it can be quite hard. So that's why we've decided to politely turn you down. But for the future going forward, we will be looking at bringing in a whole kind of UK, kind of like a concert feel, like a mishmash of all the acts who apply and want to go up on stage. And so rather than doing, say, a half an hour to an hour set on your own, you say you'll have a 10-minute slot in a much wider, like 2-hour performance window. That's just one idea. That's for future SunnyCons. We'll put that to that side. But for SunnyCon Newcastle now, we've had to tell you, and we have suggested going for the skit contest, because the skit contest is really well attended. It has a lot of audience interaction, and you'll get a lot of applause, and you will be viewed. You'll be recorded. It'll go up on our YouTube. You get much more coverage and much more kind of value out of entering the skit contest if you are a performer. And that means like about a 5-minute set. Dance about, entertain the attendees, entertain fans, get yourself out there. You can advertise yourself if you've got a YouTube channel, if you've got an Instagram, if you have any other kind of social media you want to. We're more than fine to do that if that is what you wish to do. But that's why we're not specifically going for performers for panels. That's why we're focused more on a kind of different flavour for 2019. So like I'm saying, we want different, we want unique, and I'm going to turn my attention to this thing. And basically what's going to happen is I'm going to go into the corner thanks to the magic of video editing, and we're going to focus on what's on the screen here. Now what I'm going to talk you through is SunnyCon. We're not very high tech, not in the slightest, so stick my glass on. And for this, well, especially for this, we use your basics. Oop, 2 seconds, wrong thing. Wouldn't want anything incriminating coming up. Gonna have to do some very creative editing. But we use a spreadsheet, as I'll zoom up in the corner now, and this is basically what the spreadsheet looks like for us. It's got the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday We have all of the rooms or potential rooms, because we still have not set in stone what rooms we have like fully, because the Magpie suite over here, that may not be going ahead. So that's just there for now, and I know I've got the whiskey taster there. And basically this is all the panels we have so far confirmed and what days what they're penciled in at. Please do not take this as this is the timetable. I can't stress that enough. This will change probably 100 times, maybe 200 times before this actually gets posted up. And this is the basic, the alpha version. As you can see, there's some of our panels are highlighted in green. They are the ones which are up online at this moment in time. We still have one or two to add, which we're waiting on the panel runners to email us back, and I think I've got like one or two more to email back to them. So this is it. This is the panels. This is your behind the scenes look of our current panels and how the timetable is shaping up. Now, as you can see, we have the main stage over here. That's got, you can probably see that that column is pretty empty at the moment, and that's because we have a few performances, cultural performances, Taiko drummers. I'm not sure if Donna's getting traditional Japanese instrument performances on. We're going to have probably the guests doing a Q&A. I think the guests are doing 2 panels each. I don't know which days they're going to be on, because we have to get permission from the guest beforehand before this timetable can actually be made public. So that's left off for now, and the guests themselves, they have their own timetable where they'll be on stage, they do signings, they'll do photo shoots, you know, general, you know, convention stuff. We still have to add our big ones, the cosplay contest, the skit contest, which is still not 100% in place yet. So I don't want to, like, you know, over egg it a bit, but I believe the cosplay contest will be around about Saturday, like here ish. Try not to like clash with this one, because, you know, people interested in cosplay will always be interested in this cosplay panel. So maybe we move that around. Maybe we move the cosplay contest to a little earlier. Try not to clash with like well-attended events like the hentai stuff. That goes down really well with the 18+ crowd. We still had the inking and the fan art panels in here as well. So we've announced a few, and this is just like the basics of it. And like I say, it's just a spreadsheet. That's it. That's all it is at the moment. And this will change so many times over the coming weeks and months that we've got left. And then once we've got everything in place, everything sorted, everything set in stone, we take this spreadsheet here and we'll move it into a more aesthetically pleasing outlook. Just close that now and stop me recording on there. So that's, and zoom back in, enlarge. And so for SunnyCon, it's pretty much basic. You can use like a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, or as I've used there, like an open office, because I'm not paying for Microsoft Office at all. And we just thought we add, like I say, there's a lot more to be added to that. There's a lot more to be moved around, and we've got to take into consideration a lot of things, such as we can't clash 2 well-attended events like the cosplay contest and say the hentai panel. They can't be clashed, because we don't want to split the audience down the middle and give people a difficult choice. Admittedly, it would be great if we could give every panel and make people a difficult choice, but some panels are more well attended over others, and we're trying to get to that point where we want people to come to the event, and we'll have enough people spread out, so we'll have like 2 or 3 that are panels that are absolutely jam-packed to the top. And hopefully going forward, that is what we want. That is our wish, and we try to increase the quality. Fan ran panels as well. A lot of people have had the experience of going to fan ran panels. Some of them hit, some of them miss, but we try and get that kind of nice little mix, because we are a fan convention. Yes, we are a business as well, and we are a big company, so to speak, but you know, we have the roots there. That's why I'm here talking to you instead of sitting behind a desk being miserable. I'm sitting kind of to the side, being slightly happy. And going on for SunnyCon Liverpool, it's the same kind of thing. We have less panel rooms, I believe, but there's the atrium, there's an upstairs part, and we also have the main stage in the hall, and there's got to be lots of traders areas, gaming area, all still in progress. So that's the look at how we timetable. It looks very disorganised, but we are 3 months away, and we've got 2 months of solid work on that. This is actually quite advanced, because usually it comes to a month beforehand, and we're like, oh yeah, we need to do the timetables, and it's go back through all of the paperwork of who's applied, who's asked, who's been confirmed, who hasn't been confirmed, who can we get in last second, that kind of disorganisation, which we've outgrown over the years, and so we're well ahead of it. I think it's over 100 days, just over 100 days left till SunnyCon June, SunnyCon Newcastle. And that we're practically, we've nearly got the whole penciled in part. And like I say, that will change. The times will change. So please don't take that as that's what we're doing. That's the times they are. That's just the reference for it. And that's pretty much it for now. Going forward for the future for panels, who knows? Who knows? We wanted to bring over. We get a lot of requests for band performances. Like I say, more the musical side. Other areas we're lacking is the food and the culture side of it. We can't really do much about that, because the venue has a clause in the contract where they're contracted to do the catering only, and we're only allowed food for consumption off-site. And so we can't have all of the restaurants and whatnot setting up and doing a little kind of festival food court sort of area. So we kind of feel like, we're kind of restricted by that, but the overall benefit just kind of outweighs the negative of that. Other kind of panels we want to bring in, like I said, we want to be unique, we want to be different. We don't want to be your regular, he's a cosplayer 101, there's another cosplayer 101, or this is a slightly cultural panel, and he's a fandom panel. He's about Homestuck. Does anybody do Homestuck anymore? Well, we've had Homestuck in the past, and I've got nothing against it, in case anybody thought I was being negative. But it's kind of that thing. We don't want to feel like conventions are monotonous. I had this conversation on the Geek Show's Keyframe podcast, which I also kind of co-host, and we were speaking about the state of United Kingdom conventions, and we ran across this article on the Anime Herald, which says are all conventions kind of stagnant and that, and we're like, yeah, kind of. And me being a convention organizer is like, well, there's reasons, but it's that thing. We're trying to change that. We're trying to change that dynamic in conventions. Not just like a performance here or panel. We want something really engaging, something that you've never seen before, something you've never heard before, something that you actually pay money to see just that individually, never mind as a whole weekend experience. So trying to get everybody in on that's the most frustrating part, because our network, I don't feel like we get taken seriously enough, because we don't have an attendance of hundreds of thousands of people off the bat. So the companies, like the more industry related companies, they won't really want to put much into it, because they don't think they'll get much out of it. And you've got to start somewhere, and I believe we've got a really strong, loyal grassroots audience, and if only they'd say that, and if they'd invest a little in that, then maybe their companies might grow a bit bigger. That's just an opinion. But it's the frustrating thing for us, and it is an absolute pain in the backside trying to network and trying to get a decent kind of return. And I'd put it forward, if you have a company that promotes anime or Japanese culture in the United Kingdom, and you don't just want to stick with an audience in London, SunnyCon's right in Newcastle. We are huge. Well, I'd say 5,000 to 9,000 people is huge, but who am I to say? And it's we're looking for extra stuff to add to this. I mean, it might be packed now, but we can always make space. We can always make concessions. We can, come to us and with any ideas, and we're open for anything. And that's what we want going forward. We want more industry input, more kind of make it feel a little bit more authentic, rather than just us as fans going out of our way and doing fan stuff. Let's bring a little bit of legitimacy into it and be like, oh look, we have this company coming. We've had Anime Limited come and do talks in the past. We'd love to have them back if they've got the time for us. But it's just frustrating at times because we have all these plans and all this kind of like we want to build and make these events really great in the future and just grow and expand and become as big as the likes of like San Diego Comic Con or Anime Expo in Los Angeles and Japan Expo in Paris. You know, we want this kind of like that kind of size and magnitude, especially for the United Kingdom, because the audience is there. It's just the Comic Con, the convention circuit's kind of been watered down by too many Comic Cons who just had anime and cosplay as like a side thing. We want to like bring anime and cosplay and like shield it and be like, no, you know, we'll nurture you, we will grow. You know, none of the extra sci-fi extras. I mean, you know, sci-fi is good and all, but we want to focus on that cosplay side. We want to focus on the anime side. You know, the Japanese culture side, and we'd like to stand above the rest and be like, yeah, you can differentiate between us and every other event that's going, and that's the plan, and that's the future for world domination for a little weeby convention in the northeast of England. And that is it for me. I hope you've enjoyed my little ranting on. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. On Facebook, we've reached over 20,000 likes, which is absolutely mind-blowing, and advertising works apparently. So if you haven't already followed us on social media, we've got subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, you know, give us a like, follow us, stalk us outside my house, you know, any kind of companionship. But it's been it for this week, episode 10. I hope it's been educational, and see you later.